All right, now what we're about to do is we're about to kick off tonight's show with a crime story. This is a very, very sad story, to be perfectly honest. The young girl that you see right here next to my face, she was 12 years old, from Texas. Her name was Jocelyn Nungaray. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. I'm not 100% sure. Well, once again, the Biden administration has failed us because, well, illegals decided to rape her, strangle her, and throw her in some water like it was no big deal. I'd said this in one of the last videos, and I'm going to say it again now. Until we realize that we have this replacement that is existing, this invasion by lawn care specialists, by fruit vendors, until we realize that is what we have, and we actually do something about it in this country will continue to fall because multiculturalism does not work. See, you and I, we look at a story like this and we're disgusted by the story. Other cultures, they live like this. This is what they do. All over this world, whether we're talking about the Middle East, whether we're talking about South America, Mexico, whether we're talking about ooh-ahs, these people don't conduct themselves with the same level of class as we do. It's just the truth. But let's go ahead and get to this story because this story is wild. This story is incredibly wild. Fears Texas girl, age 12, may have been gang raped before she was murdered during 2-hour ordeal under bridge as a legal immigrant. How many more stories of these are we going to do? As illegal immigrant suspects, mugshots are released. Now, the Daily Mail did quite a few videos on the topic, and it was picked up in true crime news over here. 2 men arrested after allegedly raping and fatally strangling 12-year-old girl near a bridge. Breitbart is reporting on it. Biden's DHS freed illegal aliens into the United States. They on that parole shit, you know what I'm talking about? Who are now accused of killing Jocelyn Nungaray. You see the little lawn care specialist right here. These people right here decided they wanted to murder and rape this young girl. I want you to understand, those are the faces of the people coming across our border right now. Those are the faces of the scum that this administration is welcoming into our country so they can be around your children. These two sacks of shit right here. And there's many more just like this. How many more of these stories do we have to do? See, right now, this is a 12-year-old girl, but we've done stories like up in Georgia, Athens, Georgia, I believe it was, where the college girl was the same thing happened to her. And then there was the story of the woman that was beaten and killed by an illegal immigrant in Maryland. And by the same one that was caught on camera in California doing the same thing to a woman and her 9-year-old daughter. These people have no morals. They're not sending their best. Like Trump said, they're sending their rapists, their killers. These are the people coming across this border into our country. And there's so many of you that when you hear me talk about this, you say I'm a racist because I don't want an invasion by other cultures in this country. You shouldn't want it either. You shouldn't want it either, especially if you have children. These are the people that's coming. Texas police, 2 Venezuelan men charged with murder. And we'll talk about this. We'll look at some of the story. We'll look at all this because this was a big deal. This was definitely a big deal. The mother right here, I feel very, very sorry for her. So let's take a look at a little bit of the headlines, okay? Horrifying new details have been revealed in the murder investigation of a 12-year-old girl who was found strangled in a Texas creek only hours after sneaking out of her home. Jocelyn Nungaray's body was found floating in a bayou near to her Houston home on Monday after she snuck out of the house at 10 p.m. Let me also say this. You have to put a little bit of blame on the parents. And this is also part of the problem that we have when we do not allow discipline of children. Your child should be deathly afraid to sneak out of your house, especially if there's a man there. And that's another problem that we have in America. There's not enough men, not enough fathers, not enough force in the house. Your children should be physically scared to death for you to catch them sneaking out the house. Do you know why? Because it's to prevent shit like this from happening. A lot of you guys don't believe in physical punishments. A lot of you guys would say that I'm abusive. A lot of you guys are really pussy. But let me ask you a question. A respectful fear, the same respectful fear that you give God or whatever it is that you have a strong respect for. What is wrong with having that same respectful fear for your father? One of the scariest words that a mother should be able to say to a child is, "Don't make me tell you, Daddy." That should be the most impactful statement in a house with children. Don't make me tell you, Daddy. My question is why did this girl, I bet you she had a smartphone. I bet you her parents weren't monitoring that. We live in a country now where traditional families and nuclear families are fought against. A lot of this is because you began to offer welfare programs and social programs to women that allowed them the opportunity to leave their husbands or leave their boyfriends or no-fault divorce. Thank you, Reagan, motherfucker. To allow people to break up the families and the homes. So here we have the story of this chick. Sneaking out of the house at 10 p.m. What was she doing? Two suspects, Johan Jose Martinez Rangel and Franklin Jose Pena Ramos. These are people in their 20s. How the fuck did they get here? Have been charged with capital murder. Police have revealed the pair, who were illegally in the United States from Venezuela, allegedly lured Jocelyn under a bridge, where they held her for more than 2 hours, possibly gang raping her after they tied her up and took off her pants. You guys need to hear this fucking story and understand what we're dealing with when we're talking about these monsters, these animals. When the duo were done with their depraved deeds, they allegedly killed the child by strangling her before throwing her body into the Greenpoint Creek. Prosecutors say the case would not qualify for the death penalty unless evidence is found that shows that the girl was sexually assaulted. So two men, grown men, can strangle a 12-year-old. Fuck the idea of raping her and not be considered for the death penalty? How soft has Texas gotten? Investigators are still awaiting the result of the test to confirm whether Jocelyn was raped. Why else would they do it? Why else would they do it? Both Rangel and Ramos had both been arrested within the last few months by U.S. Border Patrol, but were released, of course, catch and release, right? It is not clear when the pair entered the country. According to ICE, Border Patrol stopped Rangel near El Paso on March 14th, only to be let go with one of those notices to appear. You liberals, once again, the blood is on your hand. You liberal sacks of shit, once again, have the blood of innocent American women in general on your hands. Months later, Ramos was also arrested on May 28th near El Paso. A judge ordered him to appear in court later. Both men are now in Harris County Jail. The Harris County DA is requesting bail set at $1 million. Police had issued images of two persons of interest seen with Jocelyn hours before her death after she crept out of the home late on a Sunday night. Is it possible that you people let her on social media? You gave her a phone and this is why she was out? She was meeting people on social media? I do not believe anyone should be allowed on the internet until they turn 18 years old. Look at her. She's on her phone right there. 12-year-old just walking around with a phone like a goddamn adult. Like a goddamn adult. You see, that's her resting place right there. Looks like she met Pennywise the clown. They all float down here, doesn't it? Officers said the suspects lived on the same block as the girl and bumped into the preteen walking with her to the convenience store. Surveillance footage sees her calling her 13-year-old boyfriend. Boyfriend! Let that sink in. From the convenience store at around midnight that night, and later walking into the store itself. So she snuck out at 10 but then didn't call her boyfriend till midnight. What was she doing those 2 hours? Walking to the convenience store? I doubt it. I doubt it. Billy Jackson explained how he found the girl's body. I drove past, and when I looked up the creek, I thought it was a mannequin. I did a U-turn, I stopped on the bridge, put my flashers on, looked down, and realized it was someone. I parked right here and called 911 immediately. Jocelyn's grieving mother, Alexis, is struggling to process what happened. It's like it's not real, she told Click 2 Houston. We'll listen to her in a second. We'll listen to her. So this is what we're dealing with. She snuck out of the house, calling boyfriends on her phone. Listen, I'm going to say this now. And you guys aren't going to agree with me. If you would let your fucking 12-year-old have a cell phone, smartphone, you're a bad parent. I'm sorry. And even if you don't, I don't care if I offend you or not. You're a bad goddamn parent. If you let your children on the Facebooks and MySpaces and Twitters and shit, the TikTokers, you're a bad parent. If you allow your 12-year-old daughter to have a goddamn boyfriend and his number, you're a bad parent. Dads ain't gonna let that shit happen. It has to be some skank-ass whore of a mom. Because dads ain't gonna let that shit ride. What do you mean you're 12 years old and you got a boyfriend? Bitch, get your ass up to the room. That's what dads do. That's what dads do. Dads don't approve of this shit. This is why dads are important. Because you wouldn't have situations like this shit. So these were released into the U.S. just weeks ago. Just weeks ago. New details emerge. Horrifying new details. Floating in the creek. The preteen made her way to a local convenience store where she was accosted by 2 unidentified male suspects. Oh, we know the names now. She called the boyfriend from the convenience store at around midnight. What was she doing them 2 hours? And he would later report he heard her talking to 2 adults. 2 adults. So the boyfriend ain't shit either. You knew your 12-year-old little girlfriend was out at midnight and you could hear adults and you didn't call nobody, you didn't say nothing? Haunting photos show final moments of kind Texas girl. There they are. There she is. On that phone, and there's the little lawn care specialist. Awesome, ain't it? Fucking awesome, ain't it? So they are charged with capital murder. That's the update to the story. Now I'll let you guys hear some of the news on all this. I know I've basically told you the whole story right now. But we'll start at the beginning. Police say 12-year-old found dead. Was strangled.
Houston police looking.
Fuck. Let me, I forgot to turn my headphones on. Give me a second. This thing will pause for just a second. 1 second. All right, we're back. Everything's good. Anyway, let's play it.
Of a 12-year-old girl as a search for her killer continues.
These are brand new photos tonight of the men homicide detectives want to speak with. They were released in the last 2 hours. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry spoke with a family member, and Bryce is now live at HPD headquarters tonight with their hope for justice. Bryce.
Keith, Daniela, tonight we've just learned that young girl died due to strangulation. The grandmother tells me this is all a nightmare. And as the medical examiner's office continues working tonight to officially identify this murder victim, the family is hoping and praying that it isn't her. When a 12-year-old girl left her North Houston apartment Sunday night, her grandmother says her mother tracked her phone to this creek off Rankin Road. What she found has been too emotional to talk about.
We should not have to worry about 12-year-olds being raped and murdered in the city
we
of Houston.
No, you shouldn't. You should be keeping them indoors with no phones and no boyfriend.
Detectives want to talk to these two men, now identified as persons of interest, after investigators spent hours back in the neighborhood and at this gas station Tuesday, combing through surveillance video.
She's like almost a regular.
Christian Goffney is a clerk,
Let that
a
sink
father
in.
himself, and distraught.
Let that sink in. That 12-year-old is a regular at 7-Eleven. How often do you think she goes in there alone? I bet it's a lot. I bet it's a lot.
Over what happened.
12 years
She was a
old.
very nice little girl. But to whoever needs to hear this, that what was done was not necessary.
Well, no
Police
shit,
say
dummy.
She snuck out of her house Sunday.
This dumb cocksucker said, hey, just so you guys know, that rape and murder and strangulation of that girl, gang rape, that wasn't necessary. Well, no shit, dummy. Fuck is wrong with you? Goddamn Tyrones are the dumbest people on the planet. 78 IQ, actually, Google it. Google it.
Says she had a phone call with her 13-year-old boyfriend.
It appears that he last talked to her at a convenience store around midnight. Heard her talking to two grown-ups.
It's not clear what happened next, but around
This is
6
some dumb
a.m.
shit.
I just happened to look, and she was there. I thought it was a mannequin.
Billie Jean Jackson drove by, spotting her body in this creek. She called 911.
It's not something you expect to see anywhere. And like I said, being a mom and a grandma, it's scary.
They had recently moved to the area, the girl's grandmother says, describing her as quiet, independent, smart, and sweet.
That's wild.
She dreamed of being an actress, deeply loved music and her brother, but now
That's
investigators
wild,
are
man.
hoping these two men can help them figure out what ended her young life.
Well, it's not hard to figure out.
And tonight, the family is desperate to get whoever did this off the streets, telling me they want justice and prayers. Investigators
Yes,
tell me
everybody always wants justice and prayers.
the girl and the men in those images did not arrive at the store together, but instead it's believed that they crossed paths once there at the store. Investigators say that they were the last ones to see her, and it's not believed right now that they left the area soon after. If you have any information, you can call the HPD.
This shit's just wild, man. Houston mother of 12-year-old found dead speaks. Let's listen.
Of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray is sharing her pain tonight. Her daughter was found dead in North Houston near West Rankin Road. That's
wild.
where we find Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us live after just speaking with her mother. Randy.
Yeah, Rushy. Now, Jocelyn Nungaray's mother, Alexis, is on a mission to find her daughter's killer or killers. She spoke here at this gas station about an hour ago. She said the support, the community support, has been overwhelming. Now, Jocelyn's body was found in a shallow creek in the 400 block of West Rankin Monday morning. She had been strangled. Police believe the 12-year-old was last seen talking to two men in a vehicle at this gas station in the 12,400 block of Kirkendall. Houston police released surveillance photos of two males they call persons of interest. Jocelyn's mother, Alexis, says she doesn't recognize the pair.
I wish I did, because they would have been caught.
Oh.
But I have no recollection to who they are.
I have no recollection. Oh, man. Stop it, JB.
I don't.
Is that the boyfriend? Is that dad? That's probably not dad. That's probably the boyfriend, because, you know.
I don't know where they came from. They look like individuals that
shit on your lips got some shit on his lip.
could come out of the apartment complex I live in. It's very Latin-based, and they could have came from the skate park. There's a lot of crazy people out here, and just by looking at them, you never really could know.
Now, anyone who knows the identities of those two should call Houston police.
Yeah, she definitely looks like the type of mom that wouldn't be mad at her daughter having a boyfriend. That 12 years old.
Or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live from the north side.
This is wild shit. Wild shit. Mother Shell's heartfelt plea Let's see it. Let's see if this is the same.
And a creek is angry, heartbroken, and begging
it's
for
not.
justice.
Let's listen
Jocelyn
to it. We got someone over here.
Nungaray has been identified as a child whom Houston police say was murdered after sneaking out of her home. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry has been on that story all week long, and he's live now at HPD headquarters with that family's emotional
Them
words.
goddamn aliens.
Daniela and Keith, her uncle, tells me she brightened the room every time she came around. Tonight, investigators tell me they are getting tips in this murder investigation and following up on them, but so far, nothing worthwhile. Jocelyn's family says they will not sleep until justice is served. The search for who killed 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray is about to enter its 4th day.
I'm like angry that they took advantage of.
Where's that shit on your lip? That shit on your lip is gone. How in the fuck did that happen? You just had herpes or something in the last video. Remember? Y'all remember? Oh, let me see if I can find it. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure.
Well, the mother.
Hold on. Where was she at? There. Your lip was just fucked up as shit. Right there. But I guess now your shit is better. I mean, was that shit Vagisil or some shit? That shit works good.
She's so young.
Her mother, Alexis, couldn't hold back tears, telling our Corley Peel she hopes someone will recognize these persons of interest police have identified.
I want them to face everything they put her through and more and worse.
This is Jocelyn with one of the
I feel for the woman, I do. But I'm sorry, bad parenting leads to this type of shit. This is what bad parenting leads to. I'm sorry.
Police want to talk to. Her mother doesn't recognize him. The image captured outside this 7-Eleven off Rankin Road around 12.
Every adult in this story failed this little girl.
15 a.m. Monday. Police say she snuck out of her apartment sometime after 10 Sunday night.
Unfortunately, her making this decision has costed her her life.
Her mom didn't realize until the next morning when she tracked her phone to this creek just a short walk from home.
I really think she meant to come home.
Someone had already called 911 after driving by and
Well, yes. I highly doubt she meant to get killed. Whew. Doing this job is hard. I can't not see dumbassery. I'm sorry, I can't not see it.
Spotting her in this creek around 6 a.m. Monday. First responders surrounded the scene. The HPD dive team recovered her body. Investigators say she died due to strangulation. Houston's mayor has been outspoken on the case.
The fuck you mean dive team? It's just a creek.
We should not have to worry about 12-year-olds being raped and murdered.
No, I agree, my friend. I agree. Let's see, we got surveillance photos. Shows them with a person of interest. I'm pretty sure.
Girl in a convenience.
Yeah, we've already seen this.
Store. The mother said she understands Jocelyn was.
We've already seen it. Okay, suspects linked to Jocelyn Nungaray have been identified.
And now to major developments today in the murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray, whose body was found strangled in a North Houston creek earlier this week. Houston police have arrested 2 men in the case who are now charged with capital murder.
And during a news conference we streamed live this afternoon on KPRC2 Plus, investigators traced the accused killer's steps from the moment they met Jocelyn to the time of her death.
Wow.
KPRC2 investigates reporter Mario Diaz was at that news conference earlier today, and he's joining us now live from police headquarters. And Mario, what's left to do now with this investigation? Is this a done deal? They have everyone in custody they want to have in custody?
Daniela, that component appears to be addressed, but there is still more investigating that needs to be done here, as well as additional testing. What does that mean? The potential of additional charges. But keep in mind, this investigation only 3 days after her body was discovered has produced arguably the biggest aspect to any investigation, and that is you have individuals arrested and charged.
It's sad, it's outrageous, makes you angry, but we're going to court with these individuals and hold them accountable.
Only KPRC2 was there for the arrests of 21-year-old Johan Jose Rangel Martinez and 26-year-old Franklin Jose Peña Ramos, captured by HPD early this morning and later charged with capital murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray. HPD detailing a timeline of how the 12-year-old came across the two men.
The suspects began their evening at a Northborough area restaurant together. They left that restaurant on foot, southbound. The suspects continued south and were first seen on a camera, and those are the images that we released to you, to all of you.
Damn, they went out to eat together, is it?
Suspects seen meeting the victim and talking for a few minutes while they were on Kirkendall. Later, the suspects and the victim walked together to a convenience store, and those images were also released to you guys and the public. After a few minutes, all three together walked to a bridge where ultimately Jocelyn was murdered.
Martinez and Ramos potentially may be facing more charges.
I bet you they told her.
Admits the investigation
I
remains ongoing.
bet you it's going to be said that they offered her some weed or something. And of course, since she's a 12-year-old with a boyfriend, cell phone, she probably said, "Yeah, I'll go down there and smoke some weed with you." Listen, I have a sixth sense for this type of shit. No bullshit. I bet you it's somewhere along those lines. Why else would she go down there with him?
I performed submitted for a sexual assault kit to be performed, the same kit on her. So that is still pending.
Interim HPD Chief Larry Satterwhite says the history of the two men in Houston is unclear. HPD did not know how long they had been here or had no records of the two men in their system, as well as Harris County, but they are trying to track it down. They also admit they have brought in the feds to help them out.
We have reached out to Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, and they are conducting that part of the investigation in terms of their status and legality here.
Yeah, they're illegal.
HPD says they're going to be getting back to me with regards to the history that these two men may have within their own department. Again, Chief Satterwhite didn't have those answers at the ready for
illegal alien.
Illegal
alien scum is what we're talking about.
Inside behind me, it was quite emotional, but I have to tell you, it was also intriguing to find this one connection here, that it appeared that 12-year-old Jocelyn had hope on her side, because the lead detective in this case was a man by the name of Lieutenant Stephen Hope in downtown.
Oh, you sure told us. Jesus Christ. The two people have been detained by the police, which we pretty much know by now.
We're following two persons of interest in the death
we don't
of
need
a 12-year-old
We don't really need to
found.
see all this again. We've seen it. Look, man, we pretty much know what's going on here. And I'm sure more will come out, but the reality of this is they live right there with her. They were at a restaurant. They began walking. My question is what did they offer her to go down on that bridge with them? What is it that they offered that little girl? Listen, with her doing all these grown-up things, I highly doubt it was, hey, I got some candy. Probably was something like weed or something. And because of this little girl's lack of parenting in her home, this is what ended up happening. And look, you guys can disagree with me, and I want you to in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I think lack of parenting is what led to all of this. And now this beautiful little girl is dead. This is why you can't treat your little children like they're fucking adults. Give them adult things and things. No, treat them like children. And the minute they try to act like fucking adults, you put them in check. This whole thing is ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think about it. It's crazy.